Omni-Man is one of the most powerful Viltrumites that we've ever seen, and he had absolutely no problem dealing with his son in a fight. But how would he have done against a whole bunch of his sons all at once? Could Omni-Man have won the Invincible War all by himself? Let's find out. Now, for this video, we're going to be kinda using a composite version of Omni-Man, taking the comics, what we've seen from the TV show, and mashing them into one. So all feats apply to figure out just how powerful Nolan is. Just not his feats from Mortal Kombat, of course. And because of that, spoilers ahead from the comics for what lies ahead for the TV show. Now, Omni-Man is a Viltrumite, and we're the largest and most powerful empire throughout the galaxy. And why are the Viltrumites so powerful? Well, it's because they have access to smart atoms, molecularly the same as normal atoms, but they give access to all sorts of powers on the atomic level. And Viltrumites are unique because they can use smart atoms for a whole lot of different powers: super strength, super speed, flight, and they're the only race in the universe to have smart atoms literally encoded inside their DNA. That's what makes them so powerful. And just how powerful are they? Well, with super strength, Nolan Grayson is one of the best. In his fight against Invincible, Omni-Man was punching Mark so hard that he was shaking entire mountains, and doing this repeatedly. In fact, Omni-Man was sending Mark flying all over the planet, causing earthquakes each time that he landed. That was against his own son. He was holding back there. Time and time again, he was able to punch through Immortal, ripping him in half, cutting his head off with his bare hand, or even with Thrag's kids. He was able to splatter several kids with each punch he threw. Both the Immortal and those half-Viltrumites have some great durability feats. Nolan is still leagues above them. Then there's also the time where Omni-Man claimed they managed to stop an asteroid the size of Texas. Just think about that for a second. An asteroid the size of Texas. That's a planet-destroying extinction level event right there. That would be about 7 billion metric tons of meteor he had to stop, not even taking into account acceleration or anything like that. That lines up with what Nolan has done in the comics, where him, Mark, and Thaddeus teamed up to destroy the planet Viltrum, a planet that's roughly twice the size of Earth. Now, sure, that's 2 other Viltrumites helping him there, and Space Racer shot the planet with his gun in order to destabilize the core. But still, that's a multi-continental feat at least. Omni-Man is seriously powerful. In fact, Omni-Man is arguably one of the strongest Viltrumites you're ever gonna see. He's a trusted officer who was given the duty to conquer a planet all by himself. And true, old, accomplished Viltrumites like that are in a tier all their own. Like Conquest, we can casually bust out of solid 400-ton solid steel blocks encasing all around his body, as well as 6 miles of earth caving in on top of him. Omni-Man is still more powerful. In fact, the only Viltrumite we ever saw definitively prove he was stronger than Omni-Man was Thrag, and he did it pretty definitively. And that actually leads us into our next point: durability. And again, it's something that Viltrumites are great at, and Omni-Man is one of the best of all of them. He's been pretty much unaffected by any attacks from Immortal. He was unaffected by any of the attacks from Invincible during their first fight too. And in fact, Omni-Man has regularly been able to take attacks from all sorts of different Viltrumites and not really gone down or been all that injured. He's actually so tough that Like we said, even other Viltrumites legit just splatter against him on impact. He's taken massive nuclear lasers and survived it completely unscathed, even taking nukes at point-blank range, not even being slowed down. Now, all this isn't to say that Omni-Man can't be damaged. He can, and he's taken some absolutely devastating attacks in the past. He's been beaten up by several Viltrumites as they triple teamed him. And in pretty much every fight that he's ever had with Thrag, well, he usually ends up nearly on the brink of death. The first fight, well, he ultimately got overpowered and was straight disemboweled when Thrag punched his hand through Omni-Man's body. Omni-Man still survived. Another fight, well, Thrag beat Omni-Man so bad that his eye straight up popped out of his skull. Still survived. He went against Thrag a third time too. It was nearly torn in half. Still managed to keep himself alive. So basically, Nolan has an incredibly impressive healing factor and can survive almost any injury. But two, well, it takes a whole heck of a lot to actually injure him or put him down. Just because Omni-Man can take nearly any attack or any injury and just refuses to go down or be killed. His durability is just simply off the charts. And pretty much any injury he does take, well, he can heal from it. The only way that Omni-Man can actually be completely put down is by damaging his heart enough where his heart can't help with the healing and repair. But everything outside of that, and I mean everything, Nolan is gonna survive it. And then even simply with speed, Omni-Man, like all other Viltrumites, has the ability to move well above the speed of light. He was able to slaughter all the Guardians of the Globe in just moments, despite having a super speedster of their own in Red Rush. In the comics, Omni-Man put down the Guardians even faster. They didn't even have the chance to react to his attacks. He's well faster than Invincible during their first fight. Invincible is legitimately moving in slow motion, and he's well faster than other Viltrumites too. Then even just simply flying around, Nolan is much faster than the speed of light. When he left Earth, he decided to travel to another planet with life, and that journey took him about a week. But not just any planet, but a planet in the Virgo supercluster, which is 65 million light years away from the Earth. He traveled that span in just about a week, making him massively faster than the speed of light. No questions asked. And all these powers, his strength, his speed, even his durability, is best put on display when Omni-Man decided to completely and utterly destroy the Flaxen Empire. And I do mean completely destroy it. He flew through a continent-sized city fast enough to where he was literally causing nuclear-level destruction as he flew around. Basically, how that works is that as he reached light speed, or even just under the speed of light, Nolan was hitting molecules and atoms in the air with so much speed and force that it's causing nuclear fusion, leveling continent-sized cities and sending the entire planet back to the Stone Age. He just kept 3 of them alive in order to send him back, and then killed them too. In short, whether it's in the show or the comics, Omni-Man has just been able to consistently prove that he's not only the most powerful being on Earth, but he's just regularly proven himself to be one of the most powerful Viltrumites as well. So, could he do it? Could he beat all these alternate Invincibles? Well, to answer that, I really think there are 2 ways to look at it: the war from the comics and the war from the show. The comics is kinda unique because the whole war is just one issue. It was basically Kirkman trying to cram an entire comics event into just one big issue, maybe knocking on Marvel and DC for stretching all their events across like 50 bajillion different comics and tie-ins. But what that means in universe is that we don't have a ton to go off of, and the war was actually pretty short. But basically, at the end of the day, what you're looking at is one Omni-Man versus 18 to 20 alternate Invincibles. The numbers actually do vary. And all these Invincibles are a little questionable in just how powerful they are. Like, some of them appear to be pretty powerful, able to fight against Viltrumite level opponents like Invincible himself, or even Adam Eve, or the Immortal, or Tech Jacket. Others make some pretty dubious claims, like that they've killed their version of Omni-Man already, or that they rule over the Viltrum Empire, or even that they've killed the legendary Spawn. But they don't really back it up with just being overwhelmingly powerful, and are actually killed throughout the story by lesser heroes, like the Reaniman killed an Invincible, and so did Rexplode and Darkwing. So it's really hard to tell just how powerful each of these alternate Invincibles are. Basically what I'm saying is that the power scaling is just all over the place. But I don't think Omni-Man is winning a 1v20 either in the shows or in the comics. Definitely not in the show. Invincible and Omni-Man are noticeably closer in power level here, with Invincible being compared to Anissa in being able to fight Conquest, who is compared to Omni-Man. And Mark had to really fight his best against the alternate versions of himself. Sure, he was stronger than all of them, and he spent more time focusing on saving people than Nolan would, but each Mark really pressed him in the fight. And I think it's also important to note that a lot of these Invincibles hated their dad and were looking forward to the opportunity to kill him for a second time. So they'll definitely be giving it their best shot. Omni-Man's more powerful than all of them and would take quite a few of them out, but the numbers just went out and the Invincibles could overwhelm him. And the same basically plays out in the comics too. Omni-Man is more powerful than Invincible here. Invincible doesn't really start reaching Omni-Man's level till around the Viltrum War. But it's still not enough power to say that he can beat 20 evil Invincibles, especially since, again, each of them is going to be giving Nolan their best, as they want more than anything to beat him. It's a cool idea, and maybe a more powerful character like Thrag or Battle Beast could actually win the Invincible War all by themselves. But as I see it, I don't think Omni-Man can win it all by himself. He needs some serious backup in order to come out on top.